So in March, I'm going to be heading to Atlanta for what they call demo days. And one of the things I'm going to do is bring, or should say ship, my entire everyday carry and test it in an outdoor scenario. And there's just a whole bunch of things that I have found over the last couple months that have never basically left my pocket. I couldn't stop carrying them. So we're going to talk about those items. We're going to talk about some hidden gems and some things that really surprised me over the last couple months in my EDC. Yeah, let's just go ahead and get started because there's a lot to cover and a lot of cool items to discuss. The wallet that I have been carrying for the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks is probably my favorite leather wallet that I have ever touched or used in my whole life. It's that good. I like it that much. And I have some great wallets in my collection that still give me joy, but this one, functionally speaking, is damn near perfect. So it has 2 cards on the outside for quick access, which is great, and that's what I use most of the time. But when I do open it, I have plenty of storage in this wallet. So we have enough room to move in cash bifolded, which is great. It's obviously easier when you have more cash. We have plenty of space for additional cards. I even have a Write in the Rain notebook. This is the OTG notebook, a Victorinox Swiss card, and a pen. And I even, if you look closely, I actually have a L-shaped wrench that is a T6, T8 for use in adjusting pivot screws on multi-tools and knives and that kind of thing. It's just a really nice thing to have in the bottom of the wallet. And I noticed this because I had that extra space with the cards because of the cash. Why not use it? And so I was able to figure out something to do that with the mini expands pen from Zebra. It's kind of a hard pen to find, but it is absolutely the perfect size pen for this particular wallet. I cannot recommend this company enough, Patriot Leather Goods. They have done a great job with all of their wallets. This was the last one that I tried. Also good, but just not as good as this. Having the non-stitched corners on all 3 sides, the amount of storage is higher while still being narrower than most other wallets that have stitching. Because down at the bottom, things get pinched. You really don't have any usable space right here. You have to go up a little bit further. And for that reason, these wallets actually there's just store a lot more. And that's what I really, really like about this wallet. I cannot recommend it enough. I will leave a link to their website down below. They're very reasonably priced. They come in a billion different colors. You're definitely going to want to check them out. Now, I have been looking for a good key solution for years, and I go back and forth with different designs. I try the key bar some, I try different types. This might be my favorite organizer design that I have tried in a while. Now, I ran into Keyport at SHOT Show, and we had a really cool conversation. They let me try a bunch of different add-ons and designs and tools, and they sent me home with one of these and be like, hey, let us know what you think. And here's what I think after using it since then, which was in January. This is probably one of the best key organizer systems that I've actually used. Now, in the past, I sort of ignored it because I didn't like the idea of holding it, dangling it from this side so that the keys were kind of potentially flopping out. I wanted to have a pocket clip that kind of kept the keys in line, so even if the tightness of the screw wasn't perfect, and this one actually does very well, it would still not expose the keys. I know it's an OCD thing, but it matters to me. Now in the past, they didn't have this, which is a sort of reversed clip. They had this clip, which attached to the same side as this flashlight, and it kind of put it upside down, which never really fully made sense to me, at least. And so having this clip, which is a belt clip, I keep it in my pocket and use it kind of as a dangler, has been phenomenal. Speaking of fantastic and better than I could have imagined is this flashlight. This is a diamond in the rough flashlight because it's incredibly easy to use. It works incredibly well, and I have more than once went looking for a flashlight but found myself using this because I was able to get it quicker. And so it has 3 modes. So you have the first mode, which is low, high from the front, and then the third mode puts the side light. Now, this is what I like. I can actually use this clip, attach it to my collar, and work hands-free with this side light. Now if I click it one more time, it turns off, but also if I have it on and I hold press, it turns off the light. It's a very simple UI. You don't have to know anything about it, and they have updated it from the past generation, which only had a micro USB, and now it is Type-C. So with all of that and the updates, this has not come off, basically. It's been worth the space that it takes up as being a backup keychain flashlight. Now, speaking of keychain things, unfortunately, I can't show this to you, but I couldn't resist kind of taunting people a little bit with, what is this? So this is a prototype that I think people are going to be very excited about. I'm working with a company on the design, finishing the punch list for it, and hopefully it'll be coming out, well, I hope as soon as possible. But I think this is something you're going to really like, and it has also not come off my keychain, but I can't really talk about it right now. The other thing that I almost always have is one of these key doohickeys. They're about $6 from Night Eyes. These things work incredibly well, and a lot of times people need like a knife or something or other, and I can just unclip this, and most of the time it's opening a package, so they can just use this instead, and I don't care if they damage it, or I know they're not going to cut themselves. So I really like this thing. It works much better than you'd expect, especially for that price. And the cool thing is you can actually use this if you want to attach to a belt loop by kind of having it inside the loop here, and you can actually use this as a dangler, which is why it's one of my favorite items in under $10 for sure. So definitely check out any of these things that I've shown you, and I guess I can't show you that one, but the Keyport pivot is much better than I expected it to be. Much, much better. I also got to talk to him about this plastic. This is gone through a lot of iterations and materials to make sure that it is going to not dry out and also function for a long period of time. So I feel pretty good about it. It's a really nice design and definitely worth checking out if you're looking for a key solution. So I will be probably doing a follow-up video on key organizers at some point, but the Keyport pivot is definitely in my top 3 now at this point. Now, I review a lot of different knives on this channel, and not very many make it into my pocket on a regular basis. Not only has this made it to my pocket pretty much almost every day, it has pretty much overshadowed the majority of my collection. Now, this, of course, is a Paramilitary 3 lightweight, but it is a sprint run variation from a website called Knife Joker. I didn't even know this sprint run existed. Probably you don't either. But you have a Para 3 lightweight handle. You have a coated CPM-Cruwear blade. This is sort of like a dark green, they're calling it, but it's basically blue or black. Not black, but it's like a dark blue or dark green. It's very hard to tell. I don't have pretty much anything bad to say at all about this. Not only is the edge insane, I have been incredibly violent with this edge and gone over a couple staples and nails, and still this factory edge is in great shape. This is kind of where I hit the nail, and it's still in great shape. I can kind of, not really, I can't even feel anything. It's just incredible what this steel can do. I haven't had MagnaCut perform this good, even at 62 HRC. This is ridiculous. I am rethinking my ratings internally about steels because of this knife. I think that this could be a one and done for basically anyone. I hope that he just gets a Para 2 as well, because in the same setup, this is incredible. Such a good knife. And at the price point around 160, you're getting a USA made knife with great warranty and ergonomics, with a truly functional, like, user kind of design. Like, it's not trying to be anything other than a user knife, a knife you actually use, but it still has premium materials that do impact the performance in a positive way. I cannot say enough. You're going to want to check this out. I don't know how many of these he has left. If there's a discount code, I will leave that down below as well. But this is a sprint run that I don't hear anyone talking about, and is probably one of my favorite variations that exist. I have a salt variation coming in MagnaCut from Spyderco eventually, but I'm not sure I'm gonna need it at all because I like this so much. Let me know, is this just a fluke, or is Cruwear really as good as I think it is? Because from both the numbers and my experience, I've got to say this has got to be my favorite steel that exists right now. Just my opinion. You guys tell me down below what you think. Is this the best steel, or is there something that you prefer more than Cruwear? Now we're going to talk about something that I don't really go over often on the channel, and that is watches. Now, a company called Vaer reached out to me about a month and a half ago, and they said they would love for me to check out some of their watches. And I'll be honest, I was looking for that next tier up anyway, where we have a solar quartz movement with good stats. But when I looked at things like the Citizen EcoDrive, all those watches look awful. But the Vaer had all the stats I wanted, where it looked really good and really clean. So these are two variations. So we have their sports watch, and I'll be doing a separate video on this, by the way, that has a screw down crown. It's beautiful in design. This is assembled in the US with a Japanese solar quartz movement, sapphire crystal, steel case, screwback case cover. And then we have their diver variation, which also is solar, especially, it's kind of amazing they did that with that blue dial, and just phenomenal. The bezel has a very satisfying sound, no back drag, screw down crown. This band, which I bought in addition to the watches itself, is just perfect for it, and it also comes with a brown, like a bronze fabric, just like this, that works flawlessly with it as well. In fact, it's probably my favorite of the three. And speaking of the three, the third one they sent is this. Now, this aftermarket Jubilee bracelet they sell on their website, I bought separately, and I think fits the black variation absolutely perfect. Now that I have had a 38mm diver on my wrist, it's awfully difficult to go to the larger sizes. I have been able to comfortably wear them, but now seeing the smaller diameter diving watch, it's really difficult to switch back to a larger watch. So I'll be doing a separate video on these, but I've had a hard time taking them off. I'm mostly wearing this one and occasionally this one, but this is starting to grow on me as well. I'm not sure how I feel yet about field watches. I keep buying them, but like, I don't know. I've just always been a fan of the dive watch in general. These have domed sapphire crystal, just really nice. So we'll talk a lot more about watches in general, but my philosophy and why I think this kind of just about hits that top mark for me and what I'm looking for. But yeah, the Vaer watches, they've stayed on my wrist. They've been excellent. They've kept great time, and we'll be talking a lot more about them in the future. If you think I should be doing more watch content, let me know down in the comments. It won't be my only thing, but as far as quartz movements and functional watches, I'm all about it. I would love to talk more about it, but I want to get a sense from you guys if that's something you're interested in. Now, one of the biggest surprises for me of the last couple of months is how much I have enjoyed using the Armiger 4. Now, this is a Demko design knife, and it is just under a 4-inch blade. It is made in 80 CRV2, and it is, well, it's fantastic. There's no way else to say it. So I have been using it with a Multi clip, and I've either been carrying it in my front pocket, which has been pretty comfortable, but also at the 8 or 8:30 position just behind this, the side, my side, inside the waistband. And because it is a reversible sheath, it has really given me a lot of options on how I can carry it and move it around depending on my preference. I didn't expect that from a knife this big with a sheath this wide. I thought it would end up being uncomfortable, and it turns out that's not the case. So I'm going to continue to carry this. I'm definitely going to be taking it to demo days and really getting some real use into it and testing out all the outdoor aspects. But this is a knife you want to know about. The fact that it has EDC V2, which is a really great steel that no one else is using, and just the versatility, I think that this is probably one of the best fixed blades under $100 that you can find. I will leave a link to it, excuse me, down in the description. Highly recommend checking one out. They are fantastic. It's going to basically cover you in a lot of different aspects, the defensive aspect. It's going to cover you in the food prep aspect and just general utility. It has a full tang construction, and yeah, it's just, it can do all the things. You can do reverse grip, you can do, you know. So I really like it. I'm going to be probably doing an independent video on this after I've gotten some more use out of it, but definitely something you're going to want to check out. No question. And I could not stop carrying it. When it comes to multi-tools, things evolve, right? I carry one pretty much every day. Actually, no, I carry one every single day. And it's either going to be in a sheath, which is what I've been doing very often, or it's going to be dedicated as the only item, the only blade. So it's going to also replace the folding knife. I'm not going to carry anything additional except a flashlight. And not even that, because I have a flashlight sometimes on my keys. And no, I don't like using the one on my phone. I've nearly dropped my phone a couple of times and it was not worth it. It's better to have something separate. So when I'm carrying it in a sheath, I've had a bunch of different, you know, tools in it. I've carried the Roxxon Flex recently to try to test that out. I've carried a couple other things like the free P4. I've even thrown in the Swisstool MX Clip. But yeah, usually it's just the Leatherman Arc, which is what I have right here. Now, this tool is also really good just in your pocket as a knife substitute, which I do that as well, where I'll just take this and say a flashlight and call it a day. And I also do the same thing with the P2 every once in a while. Now this one is modified, but yeah, the P2, the P4, and the Victorinox MX Clip. So this is probably the second most carried. The Arc is probably number one, and then the P4 and then the P2 is probably the least carried. For all the flack that I've given Leatherman, the Free Series platform is so enjoyable to use. You can't deny that the user experience is really nice. Now, my older versions don't have the cutter issues, so that doesn't bother me. Neither does the Arc, because the cutters they sent me are great. I like these tools. They work for me in my aspects, and they work very well in conjunction with the Armiger 4. Anything that I need food prep for, or any sort of task where I need a larger blade, these cover it. Any utility tasks are covered by the multi-tool itself. And a lot of times I don't need a folding knife, although I do find myself carrying the Spyderco very, very often as just a useful item and also kind of a fidget toy as well. Let's be honest, I do that quite a bit with the flicking, and the Spyderco does that very, very well. So yeah, multi-tools. The Arc, probably number one, and then the Swisstool MX Clip by itself is probably number two. That's what I've been carrying for multi-tools over the last couple of months. Now, when it comes to flashlights and being at home most of the time, I found myself, and this is a bit of a surprise, gravitating to basically one flashlight because of the functionality of it. And it's not my favorite of all, like in general, it just happens to always work exactly the way I need it to. And that is the Arc Flex. I don't know why, but like, it's just everything I seem to be doing benefits from having it get attached magnetically and then being able to change the orientation. And the 1000 lumen output is great. Like, I had an issue with a vehicle recently. I was able to attach it to a hood and adjust the angle and check the oil and all that other stuff. It's just been a better flashlight than I could have realized. It just keeps ending up in the holster, in my pocket. It's just ever present. I'm not even sure how to say this, but it's just a good flashlight. If it had USB Type-C on that back instead of what this is and still had a magnet, I mean, it'd probably be the best flashlight out there. That's just my thoughts. That's how good it is. Now, the other flashlight that I've been carrying a ton is this from Multitool. I just showed it a few minutes ago. I really like that it doesn't have that exposed button, and I've been noticing an issue with the button on this. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, it has 2 modes. It's very simple. Very, very bright, high CRI. Yeah, can't say much more. It's just a great flashlight. Now, the other one that I've been carrying or playing around with is the Multitool T2, and I can carry it in here as well. What people have been saying about the button is probably accurate. That I've started to experience that when I don't have it in this sheath. The sheath kind of protects this from happening. But where the button is just a little too exposed. I do really wish that they had this kind of design for the button. That would have made it damn near perfect, in my opinion. But the output on this cannot be denied. I think 1,700, 1,800 lumens, 44,000 candela. This thing is an absolute beast. And I don't use it often, but it is absolutely a monster flashlight. And it does make it in my pocket quite a bit, especially recently. So these are the 3 that seem to end up there. When I go on my trip with demo days, I probably won't take any of these. I'll probably end up taking the Baton 4, which is my go-to travel flashlight. We'll talk about that when I get back. But yeah, these are the ones that I've been carrying the most, especially that Arc Flex. And they're just functionally useful. It's that simple, right? And at the end of the day, it's what works that matters. This is a sampling of what I actually carry every day. Now, this is way more than most people need. Like, I can almost guarantee you don't need the fixed blade, but I enjoy knowing that I can carry it. You may not need the redundancy in both a folding knife and a multi-tool, but I like having it. And you might not need the flashlight all the time because you can use it on the keychain. That's also quite possible. You can kind of scale it down, and I think that's the thing I like the most about building these types of setups. I like being able to work in layers and building up from it. Usually I start with multi-tool and flashlight, but as you can see, I guess I can't really talk about this, I kind of have that in the miniature version anyway. I would love to hear what you guys are carrying or what items have really surprised you in the last year or so that now you can't stop carrying. That's what I'd love to know. As always, guys, thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk again soon.